Welcome back to From the Pages, where wrestling's past isn't just remembered, because it's resurrected. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Tell us what you think of this lost era of wrestling journalism, because this one is a time machine straight to the smoke-filled arenas and scandal-hungry newsstands of the 1960s. This is Wrestling Confidential, July 1964. The magazine that promised truth behind the ropes, printed rumors no one else dared, and turned wrestlers into tabloid legends. We open with Wrestling After Dark by Georgianne Mastis, a column that strips the ring lights away and peers into the nightlife of the grapplers. Mastis writes with the sly tone of a gossip columnist, describing hotel bar sightings, after-hours poker games, and the whispered romances between managers and their protégés. The message is clear. Wrestling may be entertainment, but its players live larger than any movie star. Names appear like secrets half told, a certain blonde hero seen dancing until dawn, a tag team champion testing his strength at an all-night diner arm wrestling contest. It's pulp reporting, breathless and irresistible. Flip the page to Confidential Letters, a fan mail forum bursting with unfiltered emotion. Readers from Ohio, New Jersey, and Quebec fire off questions about blood matches, masks, and betrayals. One asks if Gorgeous George's hair was real. Another wonders why villains always use foreign objects. The editor's replies are half teasing, half serious, and keeping kayfabe alive while pretending to reveal secrets. We print the facts, it insists, not the fiction, so the facts are shocking enough. Then comes Why Bill Miller Wore a Mask by Mark Ernest, the first full-feature story. Bill Miller's Haniofsid is known to many as Mr. M, is profiled as a man torn between anonymity and ambition. Ernest writes that the mask wasn't a gimmick, it was a shield. Miller, a former collegiate champion with a zoology degree, wanted to wrestle without his family knowing. I didn't want my students to see me as a brute, he admits. The article mixes psychology and confession, revealing how the mask let him explore the darker side of performance. Photos show him in the black hood, stoic and mysterious. Between pages, the ads start creeping in, a full-page spread for Charles Atlas's Dynamic Tension, boasting that you too can turn humiliation into might. The artwork shows a skinny boy kicked in the sand and transformed into a muscled giant. Nearby, Melvin Powers' hypnosis home study course promises mastery of minds for just a few dollars. You can command confidence, it proclaims. Then a tiny boxed notice. Men, are pimples ruining your dates? Courtesy of Halcyon and Acne Capsules, it's a perfect snapshot of 1964 consumer dreams. Power, control, and romance through mail order. Next comes Caught! Magnificent Morris at his favorite night spot. The headline blares like a tabloid sting. Photographs show Maurice strutting through a nightclub in Miami, dressed like a movie star. The article describes him holding court at a table of admirers, laughing loudly, sipping champagne, every bit the magnificent persona he projects in the ring. The text calls him as flamboyant off stage as on, but insists he's kind to fans and never forgets a friend. The story ends with a wink. If you want to find Morris after a match, look for the brightest light and the loudest applause. Then comes the bombshell centerpiece, Mrs. Buddy Rogers' own story. I Made My Husband Quit Wrestling. Written in first person, but clearly polished by an editor, it portrays Mrs. Rogers as both loving and defiant. She explains the toll wrestling took on Buddy's health and her constant fear of seeing him hurt. When I saw him come home limping, his back bruised, I said, "No more." I told him we already had everything we needed. She describes their glamorous home life, their arguments about retirement, and her relief when he finally agreed. The photographs show the couple smiling at their New Jersey home, domestic tranquility replacing violence. It's intimate, sensational, and oddly tender. Then the tone shifts to mourning with photos never published before. The rising sun sets on Rikidozan. 2 pages of solemn black and white photographs capture the funeral of Japan's greatest wrestling hero, murdered the year before. Crowds line the Tokyo streets as Rikidozan's casket passes. Wrestlers from around the world send flowers. The captions call him the man who brought pride to Japan and respect to wrestling. It's followed immediately by Wrestling Bids Farewell to Gorgeous George, another funeral feature filled with rare images. George's casket surrounded by fans, his famous golden locks now only a memory. The layout treats both men as fallen kings from opposite worlds, one Eastern, one Western, both immortal. More ads break the mood. Ward Green's figure, slimmer girdle for women who want to look lovely overnight, Brandon Fell's hair restorer for men losing confidence with every comb stroke, and the Career Institute English course teaching diction and poise for success in life or love. Every ad mirrors the human insecurities the wrestlers themselves personify. The next article, Why Brute Bernard Acts the Way He Does, by J. Ralph Hogan, digs into one of the sport's wildest heels. Hogan writes that Bernard's fury isn't all an act. He grew up tough, fought for survival, and found in wrestling the only outlet for rage that the world would applaud. He isn't pretending, Hogan writes. He's remembering. Photos show Bernard snarling, veins bulging, eyes glazed, a living embodiment of chaos. The piece ends with a line worthy of noir fiction. He scares himself sometimes, but that's when he knows the crowd believes. Then a rare human interest detour, Vittorio Apollo is happy at home. This story contrasts the madness of the ring with quiet domestic bliss. Apollo, an Italian-American journeyman wrestler, is pictured with his wife and young son in their modest kitchen. I wrestle for them, he says simply. When the match ends, I come home and it's peace. It's short, wholesome, and quietly defiant against the magazine's usual sensationalism. Next, Wrestling Confidential steps onto moral ground with Wrestling Confidential. Takes a stand. Is Wrestling a Fake? By Mark Ernest. The editors frame it as a brave expose, insisting that wrestling is real within the limits of its art. Ernest compares the ring to theater, where pain, pride, and spectacle coexist. You cannot fake charisma, he writes. You cannot choreograph courage. It's half defense, half philosophy, an early attempt to dignify what critics mocked. We turn the page to Brenda Scott's Secret Ambition, a rare feature on a female star. It presents Brenda not just as a beauty, but as a pioneer. She confides that her dream is to train future women wrestlers. I don't want to be the only one, she says. I want girls to see me and believe they can do this too. The photos show her in a glittering robe, confident and determined. It's both a career profile and a quiet act of rebellion for its time. Then the real reason why Lou Thesz returned to wrestling, by J. Ralph Hogan, the final major feature. Thesz, the legendary champion, had supposedly retired but returned to active competition in the early 60s. Hogan explains that Thesz came back not for money or pride, but for the purity of the sport. He saw too many men turning it into theater, Hogan writes. He returned to remind them what wrestling really meant. It's reverent, dramatic, and full of respect for the old guard. The closing column, Confidentially Speaking, by Lou Sahadi, wraps everything in that smoky lounge reporter tone. Sahadi muses on rumors from the road, who's planning a comeback, who's in trouble, who's making enemies. He promises the whole story next issue, teasing readers to come back for more. The back pages deliver their final barrage of mail-order dreams. LaSalle Extension University offering home study courses in business administration, international correspondence schools, training readers for careers in television repair and drafting, and a coupon to subscribe to Wrestling Confidential and 12 issues for $3. And remember, it says, your neighbors don't have to know. And as the magazine closes, the last line under the copyright box reads like a seal from another age. Litho in the USA by Web Offset Publication Corporation, Long Island City. The smell of cheap ink, the promise of scandal, the illusion of truth, all preserved in pulp. This has been From the Pages, Wrestling Confidential, July 1964. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Tell us which story shocked you most, or which legend you'd like to see profiled next. This is From the Pages. where wrestling history lives again.